this is taking place in Las Vegas, Nevada, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Go ahead.
When you are there, are you going to say hello to James Harden's trainers, or just drop something off for a little baby? What are you doing there, Richard?
You know what's so funny and so crazy is that when we actually recorded it, it's taped, so it's not live streamed because streaming can be a little glitchy.
Sure.
Especially when you're trying to get multiple people in.
Of course.
But it was eerily quiet in Vegas. I was a little disappointed. I'd been sitting here in L.A.,
yes.
behaving myself, staying out of trouble, and I was like, oh, I get to go to Vegas. Maybe, okay, well, it looks like James is having a good time. I got there was nothing.
What's going on?
I was like, where did they find this party?
I don't know.
I was surprised.
Maybe you're not getting the proper invitations anymore, Richard.
Well, or they imported the party. I'm just I'm telling you, Vegas was eerily, like, you couldn't sit at a restaurant with more than 4 people. So I was just like, how did James Harden gain all this weight if this is the Vegas he was hanging out in? I was confused.
So what do you make of all this, Richard? I mean, about with Harden and his clear desire to leave Houston, but he wasn't there when training started with his teammates. He was in Vegas, and when asked yesterday, he said he was there to train because his personal trainers were there. I mean, what's your take on all this?
None of those things matter. Like, this is all like, he said, she said, well, with this, and it's like none of that stuff matters. What matters is this, is that James Harden is unhappy. Now, he is one of the best scorer in the NBA, until we see what, Kevin Durant is doing. He's the best scorer in the NBA. He's had one of the best 5-year stretches of any player in the history of the game. Is he still a high-level player? Is he still a top 7, player in the league? 100%. The question is like, has he devalued himself? Not from the point of, like, he's not going to be tradable, but the way Houston is looking at him right now, it's like any team that would get him, including considering the year, like, that's the difference between one more pick. That's the difference between one more player, him not coming in shape, him not. And I think sometimes, and I'm not going to speak for James, but sometimes players do this to show people, it's like, hey, this is what you're going to get. This is what you're going to get if you're going to keep me someplace that I don't want to be, or if we've had communications about me leaving. I think both sides are wrong in this situation. I think, James needs to show a little bit more professionalism. I think Houston needs to really listen to their players. And if you're getting rid of the coach and the GM is leaving and you trade the star player, one of the other star players, then if you don't have a commitment from James, then you need to give an individual like this that has given your franchise so much, you need to give him an opportunity to move on.
And, the issue with a player saying, I'm going to not report, I'll show up out of shape because this is what you're going to get if you don't trade me. If I'm the other team, I'm wondering, but for the grace of God go I, because this is what he's doing to the team that basically let him figure out the travel schedules and do everything for the last several years. I mean, that's the other side of this coin that I don't know if Harden's potentially looking at, because maybe he's thinking, I am a top 5-7 player. It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, you're right. And look, like I said, both sides are at fault. Like, look, I've played with Dirk, I've played with Jay Kidd, I've played with LeBron James, I've played with Tim Duncan. I've been so fortunate to. Yes, star players do dictate the travel schedule because it's not a matter of making one individual happy, but it's just like, your best player has the pulse of the team. They understand the locker room. It's like, if you're going to, let's say, go out. I've been on a plane where it was, we were in San Antonio and we were going to have an extra night, and Pop would go to Tim, like, Tim, do you want to stay here one night? Do you want to get there early? And then Tim would tell all the guys, like, all right, guys, look, we got an extra night in New York, so let's make sure we get our rest tonight. You guys don't have to, like, go and rush out and try and have as much fun in New York. Let's go to dinner. Let's get our night. Let's get our rest. And then the next night we can go have fun, right? So now Tim is, like, controlling, like, the group from the sense of, like, hey, guys, let's all be responsible. I just talked to Pop. We got an extra night in Vegas. Or we got an extra night in New York. Let's be responsible on the front end so we can go have some fun on the back end. That type of stuff happens all the time. It's happened with almost every star player I've been a part of. So I'm not even big on the narrative of James Harden gets whatever he wants. Has James Harden produced? Has James Harden done all the things that he needed to as a player outside of winning a championship? Yes, James has been one of the baddest men on the planet for one of the longest stretches that we've seen. So I don't even buy into that narrative like they've given him everything he wants and it was, his way or the highway. But there's also some residuals to that. You have to make sure that he's held accountable. Is he staying in shape? Is he doing all the things that are necessary for your team to be successful? And currently, it doesn't look like he is.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.